I think it is. I think it is wrong, and I think it is counterproductive. But I absolutely think like the whole change they did with power creep had cynical intentions in mind. Because think about it, like Blizzard doesn't make like Blizzard's intentions, because they understand how people behave, is they do not really expect people to be subscribed all the time anymore. Like how, if you look at it, why we got like 3 releases in a year in WoW generally, basically. Why is that? Because like they know that the only way to get people to subscribe is to get them to come back for something new, and they are gonna quickly leave again. And I think the reason that they made the gear like this to reset it is to make it a little easier a lot easier for people to come right back into the game, play for a month, and quit again. And try that. I think it is counterproductive in the long run, and like the numbers show it didn't work, but I think that's what's the intention, honestly.
I'm going to get canceled for saying this. I'm very concerned about saying it. I shouldn't say this out loud, but it's the Medina podcast. Please, no one watching right now ever repeat this. It's not a coincidence that they do these 6-month sub packages when a new expansion comes out. When they give you a pet, they give you a mount, 6 months. Why are they doing that?
Because in 6 months you get the new launch. We get Sod, 6 months later we get Cataclysm.
But do they even care if you're playing in 5 months as long as you bought it? I shouldn't have said it. See, that's a dark thought. But
it's like
do they really
it's like
care?
NordVPN, or like their money. They don't make the money of people using the VPN. They make the money because people subscribe for 1 month and they forget it for a year until they realize in my credit card report. Wait a minute.
I think I've been subscribed to NordVPN for like 4 years. I don't think I've ever used it, man. I gotta make some phone calls after this.
Why is Twitch subs a subscription instead of a donation? Same thing.
See, we're getting into a really dark subject that's going to end with your stream being cut off, so we probably should move on from this, but yeah, I knew this. I shouldn't have gone there, but it is, I mean, I don't think it's wrong. It's,
Jeff Bezos is behind me, isn't he?
No, I think that's the Roman flag and also several other flags that I don't know.
I even got more flags right there. You got the Spanish Empire flag and the Castile and Aragon flag right there.
Yeah, see, in America, we're just not really big on flags. I mean, other than the one with the stars and stuff. The results are clear, which are that gold is king in a game where you can buy the gold, which is perhaps a concern. And the launch of these games seems more important than ever. I mean, I basically was able to make 60,000 gold yesterday. And so let's say you hire hypothetically a new player. You are really in a bad place right now because there are people manipulating every item that exists in the game. Every single epic costs 20,000 gold. Medina has to pay 100. He's going to have to pay 100,000 gold. And there's a rectangular card. He got 100,000 gold for his card. So, I mean, we're left with a game with some flaws right now. We're left with some flaws. Archaeology, the price of items, the grind being based around gold.
And the raids are actually hard because, like, in Classic, if your gear sucks in Classic, it doesn't really matter. But, like, in here, if you want to do Heroic, you need good gear. So, like, you're kind of screwed.
The easiest way to get it, buy it.
Yep. So, like, what I'm going to have to do, aside from this, because I'm not going to do this because I'm poor, is going to be that I'm going to be stuck in normal for, like, 2 weeks until I get some gear. That's going to be my life, basically.
Yeah, I had gold, so I simply bought a bunch of BOEs, and I was there 5 minutes later. Well, I was able to immediately join a dungeon and let everyone die in it because I just bought a bunch of gear. It was great. They were dead within seconds. It was, like, record-breaking.
Typical LFD healer right there. How's your LFD experience, brother? Because, like...
the group I was with did not seem in a hurry to stay with me. Like, they were ready to leave at some point. And, yeah, just... I mean, it's pretty boring, but apparently Resto Druid has a magic dispel in their talents, but it's not, like, really obvious. And so I was not able to dispel the root on the one boss that puts a triangle. You know, the triangle boss? We all know him. So I'm doing my job flawlessly. I'm dispelling. Everybody dies. I'm getting flamed. But it's because I missed one little talent. One little talent is the difference between me looking great and them all leaving. And they all left. So that's where we are today. And people are talking about they're making fun of me for it. Like, I have
pretty
tiny
much any
feet.
class has a CC break right now. Like, I bet it's their fault. Like, they probably had a paladin and didn't remove it.
It doesn't matter though because the healer takes the blame and then they leave.
I agree with that.
Or they kick me.
To be fair, man, like from the other side of it, as the tank with the patience of a goldfish, like the healer is always the ultimate bottleneck in a dungeon, especially when the dungeon is kind of easy. Like the difference between a healer that actually chases you and I put a mark on the healer because sometimes I'm pulling and I don't even realize that the healer is scratching his balls doing nothing behind me and didn't come to me. And like by the time he realizes...
He's rezzing the guy you let die in the last pull and he doesn't have any mana.
I do 3 times the damage. Why do I care of that guy? Let him die. I tell him that. I actually tell him that.
There's usually a good reason why the healer's far behind, I would say. And there are a lot of tanks that just go way too far.
I think most healers are doing like half what they can do. Like, period. Like, I don't see a single healer that gets like 2 ticks of drink in every fight. That's like water is literally free. Just like do 2 ticks of drink in every fight. Like, how do you run out of mana in LFD as a healer is beyond me in Cataclysm. I just do not understand it.
It's definitely true. I would say my rebuttal is that I'm wearing blue PvP pieces that only have resilience as a stat and no other stats whatsoever. Because I'm tricking the Q system into letting me into groups that I shouldn't be in. So that's why I don't have any mana. And yeah, I don't see a solution to that. So you're going to need to cut this out of the VOD because it's anti-paladin. But I have found paladins to be the squishiest tanks I've healed.
They don't use their cooldowns, that's why.
I've never seen a feral druid and I've never seen a warrior. I've only seen 2 types of tanks. So
well,
don't
Blood
worry.
DK is
It's not
insane,
like
so.
I've only seen blood DKs and prop paladins. And the prop paladins sometimes, you ever watch the Batman movie where the Joker has the guy with the pencil and then he just disappears? That's sometimes, yeah, that's you in the dungeon a lot. And the blood DK, I've never had that happen. So that's kind of an indictment of paladins, I feel like.
Well, like basically paladins have the self-heal and they got like a very powerful defensive cooldowns. And in LFD, they do not use them. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's probably about right. But sometimes they straight up get one shot.
But it's not the healer's fault. They just do not use their cooldowns. They are like 30-second cooldowns. There is no reason not to use it.
We're going to be wearing blue PvP gear. And everyone else in the group is going to be very upset with us.
Yeah, like basically so, like the way I go around the system is I got a bunch of... Here, I got a bunch of like cloth and mail pieces. And if I cannot hit 329 today, I'm like 329 right now. If I cannot hit it when I hit 85, I'm just going to equip those blue cloth and mail pieces. I'm going to hit the Q, and as soon as I get in the dungeon, I'm going to put on my plate gear again. I beat the system, Jerome.
What I need you to do is go into the queue, and then I need to take a picture of your gear and put it on Reddit for karma. I'll blur your name so you don't get your family name ruined, but I would like to show the world what you do.
Oh, do they still do that? Like...
I would like people to know what you do. If people, I mean, I'll blur your name, but people need to know that this is a thing.
Medina is always going to play the system.
This is why your paladin tanks keep dying. This is why your tank is always dead. This is why your healer's always dead. This is why everyone's dead. Because people are going in with, like, the worst gear.
Well, like, it's, like, particularly intense for all the shield classes. That's both warrior and paladin. Like, basically, you need your avoidance cap to, like, not be awful. And, like... You can get avoidance cap with mastery, like once you get like normal gear. It's not that hard if you reforce a little, but before that you don't have it. So like, yeah, you're taking like way more damage. Once you get the mastery threshold, we're talking like late tier 11, the paladin starts taking off. Yeah, I would dare say like in tier 13, there is a good argument that the paladin is tankier than the blood DK in a lot of fights. But you gotta hit that 100% block.
Now, this is not a great comparison, but in TBC it felt that way, where it was like, the more gear they got, they became like almost autopilot.
Insane.
They were like the perfect, because they were such good AoE tanks, and they had so much gear that they were like, you could just AFK as a healer. You never had to worry about threat. And it was almost like any other tank was like super annoying to play with. Is that kind of how it's going to be here? As it, like the AoE is just going to be amazing? Because we have I had a lot of threat issues last night, just as a side note.
Threat issues?
It was always
how?
Like, look, it was like
your
a second
was
guy.
Awful, dude. That's what happened.
He was full bis, and there would always be a second guy that would like take aggro, or it was really too melee, and he would stand in the melee mechanics.
We have like, 2 tons, and they are both ranged, and we got blessing of protection on top of that. There is no way you can take aggro. There is no, even if you don't do anything, you just taunt it back. You got 2 tons, 10-second cooldown each.
So I just want to go full circle on this history, you know, way into the Roman history stuff. So 2009, 2024, we're dealing with all the systems that they developed back in 2009. And we're dealing with the soft reset. We're dealing with the economy issues. We're dealing with archaeology. I'm just wondering, should we look into future expansion releases? They're going to do Mists of Pandaria. Maybe it's finally time that we start looking at maybe reworking some of this so that we don't have these launches where everything's getting completely replaced and the economy's a mess. Wouldn't it be cool to reset the gold, for example? Like, what if we just started with all the same gold?
They are never going to do that, but they should, but they're never going to do that.